This is the Farm Monitor. For over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by one of the largest general farm organizations, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Bergamy.
Together again, Kenny B. Ray D. It just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Good to have this guy back after a week off. Glad to have you back as well, and to show our appreciation, a little something we made just for you. It's called the Show Rundown.
Yeah, coming up, desperation is what this Georgia producer is feeling. Hear from Lewis Taylor Farm CEO Bill BRIM and what he says will put him out of business if things do not change. Also on the program, food insecurity. It's been a major issue in this North Georgia county, but thanks to a partnership between 4-H and a certain university, it's about to change. Plus,
well, everybody, Ranger Nick, coming up a little bit later, I'm putting my love of working with animals and those with special abilities, individuals with special needs together. And I'm going to introduce you to an individual that loves to be around critters like this and spend some time on the farm. That and a whole lot more starts right now on the Farm Monitor.
last week we told you about the 201 investigation regarding the imports of blueberries into the U.S. This week in part 2, the Monitor's John Holcomb dives deeper into the issues at hand, including how imports from Mexico are affecting the profit margins of Southeast fruit and vegetable growers. For Georgia's own Bill BRIM, it's an issue he says is in dire need of correcting.
When it comes to imports of fruits and vegetables into the U.S., blueberries aren't the only thing affected. They're just the beginning. In fact, according to U.S. Census Bureau data, U.S. imports of Mexican bell peppers alone have increased from roughly $456 million in 2014 to more than $737 million in 2019. One producer that knows firsthand how impactful imports are is Bill BRIM, CEO of Lewis Taylor Farms.
Started back in 2015, really, is when we first got hit real hard about all the dumping that they were doing out of Mexico. Then in 16 and 17, in January of that year, it started and ran all the way through to June. They were dumping each year as well. So this season here, I think the COVID stopped them from dumping so much product in here, and they had some bad weather down there that had some losses as well, so the production wasn't quite as heavy as normal. But it's always been a problem.
One of the main things producers here in the U.S. are asking for is a level playing field. BRIM is one of those producers and pointed out that one big unfair advantage producers in Mexico have is their cheap labor, which ultimately allows them to have a cheaper price for their products.
They're paying at 0.81 cents an hour, and we're paying $11.77 an hour. And we're providing housing and transportation and everything else for our workers. So we would like to see them step up to the plate and try to be on the same playing field as us. When you're paying 81 cents an hour versus 11.77, it doesn't take too many hours to put you out of whack.
According to BRIM, they can't compete with that with the regulations they have to follow. And if something doesn't get done soon, it will put him and other producers out of business in the next few years, something that's hard to face after being in this business for decades.
We'll be gone in 5 years. If we don't get something changed, we'll be out of business in 5 years. I was telling somebody the other day, it's hard to do something for all your life, and then all of a sudden, and you thought you'd done really good, and done the right things, but now we're coming to an end because somebody else is putting us out of business.
But all hope is not lost. According to the Joint Report on Seasonal and Perishable Products, the USTR is doing something about this issue as well by doing a few things. The two biggest being pursuing senior-level government-to-government discussions with Mexico to address U.S. industry concerns and initiating a Section 332 investigation by the ITC to investigate imports of strawberries and bell peppers, something that Coalfield says is just the beginning of a very big issue.
Lots of our seasonable, perishable products are being impacted by this influx of imports from other countries. We've seen it for 20 years now in Florida. We started to see it here in the last decade or so in Georgia. And I think other states across the nation are seeing the same thing. We went from this being a Florida issue and then a Georgia issue to a nationwide issue. I mean, we've heard from New Jersey, Maine, Michigan, various states, all of whom are having issues with this. So I expect this to be the tip of the iceberg, kind of the beginning of probably a larger focus on this issue going forward.
Reporting in Tift County for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
All right, John, thanks so much. In other ag news, the latest forecast from the Department of Agriculture predicts smaller crop sizes and the potential for record soybean exports. American Farm Bureau's Michael Clemens shares how those changes are having an impact on markets.
The latest World Agriculture Supply and Demand report from the Department of Agriculture brings potential for increases in the price farmers receive for their crops. American Farm Bureau Federation economist Shelby Myers says USDA lowered old crop ending stocks for corn, changing the landscape of supply and demand.
The carryover of 1.9 billion bushels of corn and changes the corn area planted from 97 million acres to 91 million acres. Also put the new crop year at different starting line for supply. With corn supply changes and demand changes overall, ending stocks are expected to be about 2.1 billion bushels, and the hopes of a larger price rally will really fall on the need for corn demand to pick up its pace.
For soybeans, 2019-20 ending stocks were lowered to 523 million bushels, and demand was slightly increased.
Rolling into the 2020-21 marketing year, USDA cut soybean area planted by 700,000 acres and lowered the amount to be harvested. The 2020-21 demand is good news. 2.2 billion bushels for soybean exports that's currently estimated would be the largest on record if achieved.
Myers says the report resulted in a market rally for corn and soybeans.
Unfortunately, the reactionary price bumps came later than what would have been ideal for many farmers, especially those who've been marketing the old crop, and what ultimately ended up being a tighter than expected supply environment. But the price rally is certainly welcome news. Any potential yield changes that could impact supply favorably, combined with some renewed hope for demand increases, would help keep these market impacts supported.
Find a complete analysis on the market intel page at fb.org. Michael Clements, Washington.
Well, stop me if you've heard this before. Farming is a communal effort.
Well, that is true, and the University of North Georgia is embodying that as students of all ages help tend to the Vickery House Garden in order to grow produce that goes back into the community. Damon Jones has that story.
While North Georgia is renowned for many things, growing fresh local produce is not one of them. It's a problem this new project at the University of North Georgia's Vickery House is hoping to solve as college and 4-H students work the garden in the hopes of providing for the community.
In 2017, we had some local backing, and luckily we were had funds donated, but also we had a hoop house actually donated by RC&D Development, and from there we actually started growing some food for some of the students that were a part of the program at that point. And the important part was I wanted to, like I said, expose my 4-Hers to the food insecurity we have here in Lumpkin. We only have one grocery store, and there's definitely food need here in the county.
It's also beneficial for those students who like to get their hands in the dirt, as it provides a unique opportunity right on campus.
You know, a lot of students live in dorms, or they live in apartments, or they live in places that don't have, they don't have the ability to garden. And so here they can learn how to do this stuff, but also produce something that's really important for the school and the community.
And part of that community is the school system. Due to its location, finding a local, reliable source for nutritious produce has been a challenge. So partnering up with this program was a no-brainer.
There is a lot of food insecurity up in this area, and I've tried, this is my third year here, to get more local produce. And it's just been, we haven't had much luck locally. We are in the mountain area, so this collaboration is just so wonderful. It's right around the corner from all of our schools. Of course, it's very nutritious, and it's also, you would be surprised, even up here in the country, many students haven't been exposed to a lot of basic fresh produce, even like a carrot with the top on it. Many students haven't even seen that. It's important to expose them to these different things.
The garden also provides a pathway for the university to ingratiate themselves into the community, which is something many colleges don't get a chance to do.
Universities can in some ways be insular institutions within a community, but they need to be larger parts of the community. And I think that sometimes universities in general struggle with ways to be in the community, and this garden provides a way to do that.
The college students also benefit from this experience on the academic side as they get a chance to learn through this unique hands-on project.
As university students, that there are lots of different types of knowledge. There's knowledge that you learn in a classroom, there's knowledge that you learn outdoors when doing stuff like this, and there's knowledge that comes from places that you may not expect, like local community members who may have never gone to college or never been associated with the university.
Reporting from Lumpkin County, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Well, hey everybody, coming up after the break, I'm hanging out with my buddy Nick and how he uses his special abilities to connect with these animals, and they connect with him after this.
Yep.
Here you go.
"75 episodes later, he is still with us. Ranger Nick, aka Mr. Enthusiasm. Yes, after making his debut here on the show in December of 2013, Nick quickly became a viewer favorite. And now his monthly segment is something we all look forward to.
Yes, he is one of a kind, that is for sure. And to celebrate 75 episodes, Nick chose to mark the occasion by spending time with another Nick, someone who gave Ranger Nick a run for his money in terms of popularity and enthusiasm.
Well, those of you that have been watching Ranger Nick for some time know about my passion for teaching and working with animals. Some of you may not know about my passion for working with those with special needs, or as I like to say, those with special abilities. There's an organization in Georgia right outside of Athens called Extra Special People, or ESP for short, that caters to and provides opportunities for those with special abilities, several hundred individuals, including an individual I'm going to introduce you to in just a couple minutes. I first want to introduce you to a close family friend of Nick Smith's, and that's Miss Patty Nick. Good to meet you, Miss Patty.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for being with us today. So we're going to introduce Nick in just a second. Nick has primordial dwarfism. He is the oldest, smallest gentleman of that type in the world. Is that correct?
It's one of the rarest forms of dwarfism.
Incredible. And the abilities that you're going to see that Nick has. And notice who we're standing around today. All these wonderful critters, these farm animals. Miss Patty, talk to me a little bit about Nick's involvement in ESP and even what these animals can do for Nick as well.
Well, ESP gives guys like Nick something to do other than being at home with mom and dad. Yeah. So weekend camps, after school activities, or in Nick's case, he's already graduated. So just activities, friendship, connection, builds his confidence, and he doesn't have to always just be around mom or dad. And then having somebody like me to hang out with, since he is so small, it always helps to have somebody that around, keep an eye on him. But that's just me. And then the animals, I think it's because they're at eye level a lot of the times. They're right at him, they're seeing him. Yep. They always greet him when he comes over. He's always at the fence, so he likes talking to them. He likes to hear them.
There's a therapy aspect to this.
Yeah,
these
calming.
Animals for him. Absolutely. And there's that for the college students I work with. I see college students who go to ESP with me, teach with animals, and improve their public speaking ability, settles their anxiety. It's incredible.
It really is.
I want to introduce Nick to everybody, and I want to encourage everybody, when you get to see Nick and get to hear and talk to him, what a wonderful person he is, you can follow this celebrity online. Check him out on Facebook, Nick Smith. We'll meet him in a second. This guy, I understand sleeping in. You know how these celebrities are. They like to sleep in a little bit. Let's meet Nick together, and let's see Nick around these farm animals and the difference they're making for him. So here's what we've been waiting for. The man, the myth, the legend, Nick Smith is standing here with me, hanging out with some of his friends here on his farm. And it's a Friday morning, and we're hanging out together. Nick, what kind of stuff would you and Patty Cake be doing on a Friday morning out here with these animals? How are you taking care of these guys? I see Patty Cake's got some stuff to feed them. Come on over. Yeah. Come on over, let's help feed them. And maybe we'll help brush them. Do you ever do that?
Yes,
no way. I'm not doing that. So, now wait a minute.
You played
now,
with that one.
Who was that one? Who was the goat?
Nelly.
Fat goat.
Fat goat.
The fat goat. Okay. I hate to know what you say about me when I leave. I don't know. But these animals are so cool that you guys get to hang out with, and they know you, I think. Now, do you have a favorite?
My girlfriend.
Oh, your girlfriend.
Which
well,
animal's
that's right.
your favorite?
Which animal's your favorite?
Coronavirus.
Oh, coronavirus is the smallest of these donkeys out here. What makes her your favorite? Why is she so your favorite?
That one, that big one, that big daddy one,
Oh, they make up. Before we started taping, they were making all kind of noise. I wonder what they were saying.
Yeah, why don't you do that too?
Yeah?
You liked coronavirus because he was your size when he
No,
was
my
Well,
don't
and
do that too.
that's true too. So one of the cool things, Nick, you have this special ability. You can look at these guys right here, and they can look at you instead of looking down on them. That is such a cool thing to be able to do.
You love it when
and
they do
I wish the folks at home could have seen this. I saw when Nick walked outside of his house before we started taping, these animals went nuts. They knew Nick. They knew his personality. They know that you love them, and they respond to that. And I think that's so cool. And what I want to do, Nick, in just a second, I want to introduce you to an animal that I brought with me.
Okay.
A little surprise. So we're going to show everybody in a second this little surprise, because I like to hang out with farm animals, but I also like to hang out with another special kind of critter that I'll show you. So let's go check that out next. Well, before we let y'all go today and we let this guy get back to his busy day, I want to thank Nick for spending some time with me. And Nick, I got to tell you, of the 75 Ranger Nick segments that we've done over the past 7 years, I think I can say this has been my favorite one. What a cool time we've had together. Nick, before I let you go, I got to see all your farm animal friends, but at my house, we don't have farm animals, we have reptiles. I want to introduce you to one of my favorites, since I got to see some of your favorites. This is Sharon. I brought Sharon to see you. This is Miss Sharon. Sharon is missing an arm up there in the front. She was injured about a year or so ago. She comes to class with me a lot.
I got one too.
You got a box turtle too? This is an eastern box turtle. She loves to see you. Yeah, and she cute. You can touch her shell. Isn't that cool? Animals, the power of these things. Farm animals to turtles is great stuff. Y'all, thanks so much for spending this 75th one with me. And Nick, thank y'all so much. Y'all know what to do. Hop online, check out the Ranger Nick Facebook page, check out the Farm Monitor Facebook page. And until next time, for the Farm Monitor, I'm Ranger Nick saying enthusiasm is contagious. So pass it on. Y'all, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you for number 76 next month. See ya.
"75 episodes. Here's to many more, Nick. Up next, we're talking dairy and some strategies for producers to consider when managing dry cows.
There has been a lot of research in the past 20 years focusing on dry cow management. Really focusing on the dry period is going to pay big dividends for our producers. First of all, we have to think about stockmanship. So making sure that we're handling these cows correctly with low stress level, it's going to help the overall health of these cows and not impacting their dry matter intake, for example. We have to have a clean and dry place for these cows to lay down so we can try to reduce bacteria exposure to the teat end. Mastitis is going to be one area of focus regardless if it's the dry period or the lactating period. We have to think at dry off. We need to keep in mind that we're going to have dry cow therapy, if it's going to be a blanket dry cow therapy or a selective dry cow therapy. We have to think about teat sealants. That's going to also minimize the risk of intramammary infections. So another important aspect to consider when we're managing our dry cows is the timing that we're going to be conducting some of our practices. Usually we rely on days carrying calf or days of gestation. But the reality is we're going to have variation in gestation length of our dairy cows. So it's important for us to look at our herd, what's the actual gestation length. So when we're building our vaccination programs, we're going to be giving vaccine at the right timing, producing antibodies that are going to be present in the colostrum, so we can provide the best protection for the baby calf. And we have to keep in mind that for us to have a healthy calf, we have to have a healthy cow. So if we put a large focus in our dry period, using a good vaccination program, having good results with our dry cow therapy, using a teat sealant, it should result in healthier cows and increase reproductive efficiency, because health is not going to be jeopardizing reproductive performance of these cows by the time that we're going to be breeding them. There are a lot of resources out there for us to train our employees how to handle cows correctly. And one great resource is the Dairy Care 365 program provided by Merck Animal Health. It's a free resource online that has several modules in English and Spanish, and producers and workers can rely on that resource to really educate their employees and to do what's the best for our dairy cows.
Finally this week, some more great tips from our friends at the Georgia Forestry Commission.
Yeah, in our last episode, Community Forester Seth Hawkins talked about the proper watering techniques for newly planted trees. Well, even before you think about filling up that water can, you need to make sure you have a solid and water-friendly foundation.
Hey everyone, Seth Hawkins, Community Forester with the Georgia Forestry Commission here. Welcome to another episode of our Ask the Arborist Tree Care video series. You might be wondering why I'm holding this handful of organic mulch material. Well, that's the subject matter of today's video, is putting good mulch materials around our trees. Yeah, so Alex, another one of our community foresters for the Georgia Forestry Commission, is demonstrating, proper mulch application, right? So when we're putting mulch around trees, what we're really trying to do is recreate the natural growing conditions of the forest. If you go out in the forest and look around on the ground, what do you see? You see mulch materials. You see sticks, twigs, leaves, things like that. So we're essentially just trying to make the tree feel like it's in its more natural growing habitat. More tangible things that mulch can do for us: it provides, organic input into the soil. It conserves soil moisture. It moderates soil temperature during the summer and winter. It protects the soil from being compacted by foot traffic or raindrops. One of my favorite things about mulch is it suppresses weeds. We don't want to be underneath our young trees spraying Roundup. We definitely don't want to have a weed eater anywhere close to the stem of our young trees. So having that mulch in place will really help to suppress weed growth, which will keep us from having to have any sprays or weed eater near our tree. But you'll notice, Alex, he spread it out nice and wide, about 2 or 3 inches thick, really depending on your soil texture. If it's really sandy soil, maybe about 4 inches thick with your mulch. But here with this soil, it's a nice sandy loam. We're going to go about 2 or 3 inches thick on it. You'll notice that he's going out past what we call the drip line, which is the furthest out reaching branches of the tree. So that's just a good rule of thumb to follow when you're mulching, especially around young trees, just to make sure we're protecting an adequate amount of the root zone. So as you can see, Alex has got this a nice flat uniform thickness, about 2, 3, 4 inches thick. Again, just a nice uniform disc around the tree. You'll notice that he's got it spaced out from the trunk. You don't want it mounded up on the trunk or anything. We call that volcano mulching. It's really bad for the trees. It can cause girdling roots and stuff like that. So again, you have a little space between your mulch ring and the base, and just a nice uniform thickness disc. And just come out about every 6 months to a year, take your rake and just kind of stir this up to break up any thatch that forms. And you should have nice protected soil, and it'll really start to improve the soil over time. So again, mulching is just a super easy thing people can do to improve the health and vigor of their trees in their backyard. Our website has a lot of great resources, including resources on proper mulching techniques. So you can go on gatrees.org and find a lot of good publications and resources there. And also go on our Ask the Arborist webpage, where you can submit your questions and pictures as well, and our team of arborists will help answer your tree care questions. So again, thanks for watching today, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Yeah, guess what? I've been doing it wrong the whole time. Seth, thank you so much, and thank you for watching. We were out of time.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time right here on the Farm Monitor. Have a great week.